let's uncover the relationship between personal fitness and business performance. Because when it comes down to it, you're a person first and a business person second. Now, we all want the same thing. It's simple, to be in the best shape of our life and stay there. Now, this next hour is about improving all of your personal and professional aspirations without compromising your lifestyle. Now, is that possible? We're going to find out with former professional footballer who helps people achieve peak performance, Kirk Miller. Are you there, sir?
I am indeed. Thank you so much, James.
Well, it's nice to see you. And you've got a T-shirt on today for a change.
I did have a vest on earlier, James, but I didn't think it was really appropriate to the action coach audience. So I put
Well,
my top
look, it's really good to have you here. And yes, we can see from all of the pictures on Instagram, you're definitely an elite performer yourself as well. Now, just speaking of elite performer, you went through the hierarchies of football there, didn't you? So who did you play for?
Coventry City. That was the original dream, James. I was at Coventry from the age of 10 to 20 when Coventry were Premiership team.
Okay.
So, yeah, they were a good team. And I'm one of the few people, I know James has just absolutely destroyed me for supporting Manchester United for that 7-0 defeat we just had. I'm one of the few people that turned down Manchester United at the age of 13, and we'll elaborate on that a little bit in my story.
Ooh, all right. I'll save that then. And by the way, I didn't hit him hard for the Man United one. Now, I do want to ask you about this because we've gone and found a quote of yours. So, we found this out there. So be happy with who you are, but always believe you're capable of becoming more. Now, of course, we've seen the pictures. You've got the muscles, you've got the style, you've got the charisma. Have you ever been unhappy?
That's a lot of accolades. So for anyone listening to this, firstly, I'm very, very grateful for James saying these kind things, but I want to be really, really transparent here. I want to add as much value as I possibly can today and be really, really honest with every single word that comes out my mouth. I know James has said some nice things, but I've been the guy that has been on front cover of Men's Health, but lacked internal confidence and belief like you would not believe. When I got knocked back by Coventry, James, at the age of 20 by Gary McAllister, that was the first time in my life I got told I wasn't good enough. And I folded. So for anyone listening to this,
when they said that to you in the moment, then what happened?
I'd never had to deal with rejection, James. I'd never had to deal with rejection or getting told cold-heartedly, we don't want you. And I think whether you got told in business or in a relationship that someone doesn't want you, then if you're not emotionally conditioned to that, it doesn't matter how much you might be in the gym. Like I had a 6-pack, and on the front end, I portrayed unbelievable confidence.
Yeah.
I crumbled.
That's what you call them, the front ender, yeah. So the people with the external presence and confidence, where they've not got it on the inside, you call that front ender.
Yeah, exactly. I think, whether it's a 6-pack or you've got a nice car or you can go on a nice holidays, it doesn't matter. I think when it's all said and done, James, the quality of our life is based on how happy we are with the conversations to ourselves when no one else is around. And that quote, be happy with who you are, but believe you are capable of becoming more. That's not to say, and anyone listening to this or watching this, no one's broken. And every single person has areas in their life that they're really, really happy with. And they've probably got lots of areas within themselves they're really, really happy with. But I think true high performers are always exploring, can I be more happier? Can I be more successful? Can I strive to be better? And the reason I'm so passionate about that particular quote is my belief system let me down at the age of 13, as I just said, when I turned down Manchester United, and I didn't realize it till many, many years looking back on that, James, but at the age of 13, I had my dream in the palm of my hand. So I've been at Coventry from the age of 10 to 20, but at 13, Manchester United call my house and they say to me, we want to take you up on a schoolboy form, signed for 2 years at Manchester. You might have to move to Manchester, which coming from a council estate in Coventry, that was a big deal back then, and I remember having a conversation with my mum. She said, what about your studies? What about your schoolwork? And fast forward a few years later, I blame my mum when I eventually failed in that safe option at Coventry. But I basically had 2 options. You take the safe option which Coventry basically offered me a professional contract at the age of 13, which was unheard of, James, in professional football at that time. So it was like my original dream of being a footballer was there. Or I take the uncomfortable option, actually pursue in my heart what I wanted to do. Because if you'd have said to me, James, up to the age of 13, what do you want to do and who do you want to be? It would have been, I'm going to be a Manchester United footballer. That's what I want to do. And I had that moment, and I made up a story for years after that, oh, it's my mum. She said, what about your studies? Deep down, Kirk Miller from Council Estate Coventry at the age of 13, didn't believe he was good enough. I didn't have the confidence to follow his passion, and it let me down. And that safe option, 7 years later, I get released by Gary McAllister in a 30-second conversation. So the reason I share that is that comes down to belief. And that's why I really challenge anyone listening to this today. If you believe in your heart, you're capable of becoming more, whether it's a little bit happy with your body, a little bit more successful with your business, which I'm sure you're going to achieve inside Action Coach, just explore it. Because when it's all said and done, James, and this is why I'm so passionate about helping people and providing as much value as I possibly can today on this podcast, no one wants to look back when our story's up at the end of this life and think, what if? I wish I tried this. And if we really be transparent about this, and definitely speaking for myself and all the clients I've coached, often those moments where you might have failed, they become your greatest teachers, and often your areas of biggest mastery, because you don't want anyone else to go through that pain and suffering. And that's where, from a mindset perspective, yes, I get people in shape, etc. But for me, the most important metric of me doing that, relevant to the fat loss and all that stuff, is have I helped expand that person's potential, that belief that deep down is always inside of them. And I think if you listen to this as a business owner, obviously one of the reasons you are tuning into this today is, I'm not saying you're not happy, but you're trying to look for that little 5, 10, 20% of how can I be in even more better physical shape? Otherwise you won't be on here. And my positive challenge to you is, if you've been successful in your business or any area of your life, and for a lot of people listening to this, you've ticked a couple of boxes I haven't yet. Me and James spoke about this previously. Yes, I've got a partner, but I'm not married. I'm sure so many listeners listening to this are married. I haven't got children yet. We're trying, but you've ticked a box I haven't yet.
Be very careful. You're going to be getting lots of proposals coming your way. Like seriously.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to say is, everyone's got their thing and they've ticked certain boxes and different priorities, different stages of life. But when it's all said and done, I'm sure anyone who's listening to this as an Action Coach member or potential member, you are looking for that extra 5, 10% of how can I fulfill my blueprint, my core expectation of deep down in my heart, what I want to achieve across all the different hierarchies of life. But when it's all said and done, you are only going to go as far as your belief systems. If we don't have that confidence, that belief, that's going to let us down at pivotal moments.
Look, I'm just going to rewind a little bit, because did you genuinely believe you weren't good enough? You said those words, when you got offered that Man United contract, you genuinely believed, and that's what made you make the decision. I'm not good enough.
Yeah, I might not have been brave enough to say it to other people at the time, but James, the truth is this. I was absolutely obsessed with Manchester United, and I've been saying from the age I could talk. And when your dad puts that Manchester United kit on, I'm kicking the ball against the wall. Every single year, I'm telling people I'm going to be a Manchester United footballer. And who gets a call directly to the house? And my dad picked the phone up. But there was something internally that wasn't brave enough to pursue my greatest self as a footballer with Manchester United.
So that's a real fear, isn't it? The fear of not being good enough that stopped you pursuing your biggest dream. Now, clearly, you're so eloquently talking about the subject now. It's you've been very successful since as well. Loads of comments that's coming in here. We've got a few Man United fans.
Yes,
that's coming in here. So we've got Anu. Anu is Coventry, so she's a big Coventry fan. There you go. We've got Rachel Woods. Rachel Woods is a Man United fan. She's a big fan of any strong leader, really, as well. So big Man United fan. We've got Lucy Dunn Leave-It. You are good for Man United. You are too good for Man United. There you go. She's a Liverpool fan. And we've got Action Coach Loughborough here. What we got? You're only as good as your belief system. It's true, isn't it? It's a good point. That
100%. Your success in any field will only go as far as your belief. But guess what? You can violate limiting beliefs at any given moment if you choose to, and that is what I'm so passionate about, because I think one of the greatest things you can evaluate, if you are, there's an area of your life right now, whether it's to do with body, whether it's to do with business, whether it's to do with just personal growth, ask yourself, what area of your life have you demonstrated to date that you violated a limit belief? And I think every single person, if they really think deeply,
Violated.
They have.
Violated a
They
limiting
do.
belief.
If you've got a belief holding you back, you can't just dip your toe in it. We have to violate it so it doesn't come back and condition it.
Just tell me through that violated thing. You know, I've not heard it phrased like that. So when you think about it, like, I'm violating it.
The power of language, James. I'm sure you guys talk about this inside Action Coach. You're going to have language that limits you, and there's language that lifts you, and that's going to shape our reality. And I think sometimes if you have a limiting belief, being soft with the language you're trying to use to get rid of that limiting belief doesn't work. It has to be empowering to you and how you feel, of course. And I think if you have got a belief right now that you feel is holding you back in any given area, I think the word violate is right. It's that strong. There's an emotional feeling behind it. Yeah, and I think
there's a conviction to it there.
Yeah, whether we're setting a goal or we're just trying to overcome a limiting belief, there has to be an emotional feeling behind that. And I think the more emotion we can have with the words we say about achieving that goal or violating that limiting belief, the more likely we are to follow through and the action needed that follows that.
Now, I'm going to do a super rewind now to something that you said actually initially. It was really profound comment, actually. And you said it in the middle of saying loads of other things, but you said, actually, no one's broken.
No.
And there's something really sincere and warm. And I get it. Like, what makes this person more successful than this person? No one's broken.
No.
And where did that comment come from?
Because they're not. I think everyone's got their thing. I think even if everyone comes from different backgrounds and they might have different resources available to them and environment and peer groups to them or not to them at certain periods. And I think given the choice and as long as a certain outcome is aligned to someone's values, if someone was shown the skill sets needed, the system, the environment, the encouragement, magic things happen. But you know, we all come from different backgrounds and have different strengths, and yeah, no one's broken.
No one's broken.
Yeah,
it's possible for everybody.
Yeah, absolutely.
Everybody's got that potential. Right, we've got a few slides here, so there's some information, some science coming your way, folks. So look at this one. I mean, look at that diagram. I mean, let's unpick this. So the real personal, professional, and emotional value of greater mental and physical health. So talk us through what we're seeing here on screen.
Okay, so for me, just to summarize, for me, irrelevant of the value things we're going to speak about in a second, James, and anyone listening, without great mental and physical health, for me, there'll always be niggling questions that you ask yourself on a daily basis. I don't think you can ever be truly happy internally, which a listener beautifully said earlier, if you haven't got great mental health or physical health. You can't have one without the other.
So profound that.
Yeah, well, think about this. Like, again, to be very open and vulnerable, I've had the six-pack and been on the front cover of a magazine that every man probably wanted to be on. Okay?
I don't know. I mean,
maybe the gym goers. Okay, but I've been the guy that has been physical health. I might look like a specimen and Adonis, I think you said at the start. But mentally, I wasn't happy because I wasn't being congruent or living with purpose or in the right job, wasn't in the right relationship. And, you know, I wasn't aligned living to my blueprint. So for me, you need both. Okay. But this diagram, obviously I've put here the real personal, professional, emotional value of greater mental and physical health. Ultimately, if we are trying to explore living with greater mental and physical health, we need to have more of an emotional value with actually achieving that. Because if we think about it, we don't ever follow through consistently with things unless we know there is a significant value on return on investment of time, effort, energy. Okay. Yeah. And what I've got here on the diagram is most people think when they are striving for greater confidence, mental health, physical health, whatever word resonates for you, okay, they think physical change, diet plan, workouts, time, effort, money, hard work. That's all a cost and a negative. Okay. So what my sort of challenge is, and what I want to really get clear today is try and stack as much emotional value on these behaviors of getting your session in, eating healthier food, dedicating the time first and foremost, because a lot of people, like they may kick off a journey, James. They go, okay, I want to optimize my physical health this year. I want to drop some body fat, live with more energy, right? Like half the world just now, it's mid-March, are going to fall off. It's been, scientifically proven. The reason they don't follow through is there's not enough deeper meaning between the behaviors.
Is that true for every walk of life, though?
Absolutely, 100%. I would say that, and there's no right or wrong. And if anyone's listening to this, I'm quite happy with how my physical health is, mental health. Cool, amazing. What do you need to do to keep that? But if you're not,
no, I'm prepared to go there where you said, because I'll take that off. I'll bring it back on in a second. Yeah. You can't really be truly. I'm putting myself in this in what you're saying here. You can't really be truly happy if you've not got mental health and physical health. There's an internal dialogue that's going on, and we've all got this voice in our head. We have all these thoughts every day, and so I think there's some truth in it. But like any goal, attaching positive emotional value to it is a crucial thing.
I think when it comes to physical and mental health, James, anyone listening, ultimately your biggest metric in life is how happy am I? And if you are having frequent negative emotions creep into that mind of ours too frequently, or negative questions that are focusing on what we don't want as opposed to what we do want, that's when we maybe need to think, okay, cool. Let's really put pen to paper of what is the actual emotional value if I was focusing on working on my mindset a little bit more, working on my health a little bit more. Now, obviously, a lot of people listening to this, you are business owners, I'm sure, very successful in your own right. And if you've achieved great things, imagine where you'd be with maybe 5 to 10% more energy, 5 to 10% more mental focus. Okay. And for me, as a business owner, business leader, a lot of us, we might be involved in sales, leading teams. Simply put as well, we're all trying to optimize our output as much as possible from 168 hours in a week. Okay. For me, we can't do that if we don't have great physical health, or we have a reactive mental state. Because remember this, state drives decisions, and ultimately what we do and what we achieve over an extended period of time, and not in just short bursts, is going to be based on our decisions. And when you are feeling strong mentally and you're feeling strong physically, you merge them two together, you'll sell better, you'll lead better. Your behavior, your role model behavior will influence those you love most. And I think great leaders, which I'm sure every single person is who's listening to this today, you can give more. Because I think as a leader of your ship, especially if you're a business owner, the capabilities of your team, your children will only go as far as yours. So that's why I think we just continue to stretch that. Of course, be happy with who we are, but be capable of becoming more. And I think even in sales, it's about trust, it's about belief, it's about energy. You can't give what you don't have. So we want to fill that cup up as much as possible. And that diagram is, yes, I'm very OCD, unapologetically, right? But there is so much more value when you think about, if I'm in great physical shape, I've got great mental health as well. How will that improve my relationships? How will that improve my ability to influence my children, my team, without me being more productive? Because I think we're all trying to go, right, how can we remove distractions? I'm sure if we've got stuff going on in our mind, we make reactive decisions. And like some of the greatest business owners I've worked with, James, and the ones who are in shape, they make more proactive decisions than reactive decisions, especially over a calendar year. Because I've got a saying as well, James, irrelevant of the success of business body, you're the average of what you do, not what you do every now and then. And I'm sure one of the reasons that people have joined Action Coach is how can we create more consistency and predictable progress with our business. And
your state drives decisions. You get the average of what you do. Very powerful stuff there. I mean, let's read some of these gold new emotional value here. So what are you saying here? Attach these positive beliefs or thoughts to what you're doing.
If you can hardwire these emotional values and benefits, I'll read out as sharply as I possibly can, into your DNA, you are more likely to follow through on the behavior of doing the workout. So rather than you looking at a workout and going, God, I've got to dedicate an hour on my workout today, I don't really want to do this. But then when you flip that and go, remember all the emotional value and the personal value, the professional value, what this is giving me back, I'm more likely to keep doing it. Because I think we all have to suck it up and do things sometimes we don't really want to do. And most business owners, from my experience, James, the reason they push through and do the extra mile at work, or think of the blood, sweat and tears most people have had to do to build a great business, right? The extra studying, doing basically what other people aren't prepared to do.
Tell us, by the way, feel free to comment in the chat box. Tell us about the blood, sweat and tears that you've put in.
The blood, sweat and tears. Well, I'm pretty sure I'm yet to meet a business owner when I've said to them, God, I'm so inspired by where you are right now in your business. Did you have any hiccups? What did you know? How many? Was it a straight line to success? Not one. And I've said to business owners when I've challenged them on this, I said, what made you keep pushing through? What you know, when you hit that first roadblock, or that thing didn't go your way, or you didn't make that sale, or team members leave, they're fully aware of the consequences if they don't follow through and keep going, and they're fully aware of the deeper meaning on the quality of their life and often the quality of their relationships, those they love most, so they do it. And my challenge is this: that's amazing. You have demonstrated that you can do this in business, which is great. Right. So the key is, if we are trying to optimize mental health, physical health, think of the areas of your life you value most. Now, clearly, if you're on this podcast, one of them is going to be business. And then say, if I improved my mental health, my physical health, my energy, my confidence, my sharpness, how would that further improve the area of life that I'm already strong? And that's the exciting thing about this. It's not doom and gloom. It's going, God, if I put in 3 or 4 hours a week training, if I maybe eat 5 to 10% better, it's not about being perfect, right? Because I've been that guy too. What is that giving me back? And who else is that impacting in a positive way? What else is that giving me? Confidence, energy, productivity. Obviously, we could list loads, but you accomplish more daily. Simply put, I think most high performers, and I'm sure if you've been in the action coach for a short period of time, a long period of time, you feel bloody good when you've achieved a lot at the end of the week.
You do.
And that comes from energy. You've obviously done some with your energy to do more.
Yeah, lots of comments coming in. We're not going to read them all out here. Let's have a read of Lucas's latest one. Success is often more like a little zigzag than a straight line. Absolutely so true, isn't it?
100%. But what I'm trying to say, sorry, just to clear this up, because I speak passionate on this, is most people who aren't where they want to be physically, or haven't been able to sustain consistent health across 12 months back to back, the moment that little zigzag doesn't go their way, they forget the emotional value of why they started in the first place. So if you can remind yourself of that on a daily basis or even a weekly basis.
How do you do that then? How do you remind yourself of this every day?
I think journaling is fantastic. And I'm a bit weird, James. I can read this off the cuff because I do it every day. Every single morning. I think it's so powerful, whether it's journaling or whether it's talking to yourself in the mirror or a vision board like I do, right? And I'm not one of these guys that does a vision board and just hopes for the best. You need to follow it up with action, right? But I think dedicating a couple of minutes in the morning, whether it's journal, whether it's looking yourself in the mirror like I do with what is my mission, what is my why, what is my purpose, why am I doing what I'm doing? And more importantly, who do I need to be today to make this happen? So I literally have a why sentence. I have a paragraph that I say, and then remind myself who I need to be. So again, just give you an example. I would say something like, I help people become the person they've always been capable of. I am a world-class leader, speaker, and high-performance coach that helps driven global business leaders to get in the best shape of their lives and live with unwavering confidence. But by being ruthlessly consistent and operating with high energy, discipline, and standards, I will change the lives of millions of people all around the world, be a phenomenal success in business, and be able to provide financial freedom for my family. When you say that with emotion and feeling, right, you got reminding yourself of your why on a daily basis. Why am I doing what I'm doing? Because we're all on this hamster wheel of life sometimes. But remind yourself on a daily basis, who do I need to be today? Then your actions and behaviors are more likely to follow through, to make that happen. And I know no one.
Let's see the impact that this have. Let's see if everybody's balancing off, going through the walls this weekend. Let's see. Mike Greenwood, legend, Man United fan as well, by the way. Some great players went to United, but never made it to the pitch. You must have been good to get the recognition at 13. Be proud of how far you've gone, Mike.
I'm very grateful for that. And just to mop that subject up, thank you so much, Mike. Nothing in life is accidents if you choose to look at it that way. Without realizing it, those moments at Manchester United when I turned them down and the belief system let me down, at the age of 20, when I got let go by Gary McAllister and then retrained as a gas engineer and a plumber for 5 or 6 years, because that was a career and it's safe and you'll always be able to pay your bills. I'm still the ripped guy during that 6-year period, but I still had destructive behavior patterns because I wasn't happy with what I was doing on a day-to-day basis. The reason I share that is those experiences have made me the coach I am today, because I don't want anyone to waste time not feeling as happy as what they could be, even whether in a relationship they shouldn't be in. The relationship with themselves, they're not quite as happy with. And again, it's nothing about the body, because Kirk Miller from Coventry was still ripped from 20 to 26, but I wasn't happy doing what I was doing because I took another safe option, James, the second lesson in life during that 6-year period as a plumber. And my security blanket, my way of meeting my needs was in the gym. My only area of significance, certainty, contribution, growth was in the gym. And then because of that, I've gone from this vehicle, James, of having my needs being met in football, Coventry. And this is why so many sports people really struggle with drink, drugs after they fail. I had this vehicle that football gave me certainty, significance, variety, love, connection, growth, contribution. I've got one thing that's making 6 needs, and then it's took away. And then I replace it with a job that wasn't meeting my needs, but you're going to find a way to meet your needs whether you like it or not. And that because I wasn't happy with what I was doing as a profession or relationship with myself, that's when I had my battles with drink and drugs during that period, but I still had the 6-pack. And then thankfully now I don't have those issues because I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, hence why the passion I'm talking on this podcast today. So they're the greatest lessons, your greatest teachers, if you choose to look at them that way.
Yeah, look, there's loads of comments that's coming in thick and fast as well. I do want to move on to your second area of this. So process.
This is my favorite.
To superior mindset body. I mean, this is the development of elite, isn't it? So talk us through what we've got here on screen. Everybody just pay attention right now.
Yeah. Awesome. So this for me is a more realistic process to a great mindset, body, confidence, energy, basically great physical, mental health. And I'm going to break down why and where most people fail. So at the start of any journey, right, we have a start position. Just like in business, we have an outcome. We need a process to get us there, and we need something to then keep us there if our goal is to sustain that business, that body. So when most people kick off, okay, it's a surface level goal. Well, most people who aren't where they want to be, or aren't as consistent as they want to be, they kick off a goal and I want to drop 20 pounds, I want to put 5K gym muscle. But if you don't have a strong why behind that, you'll do that for about 2 to 4 weeks and fall backwards. As I said, think about with business, the reason you followed through on it is because you knew categorically why you were doing it and the emotional value and the feeling that would give you, and no doubt the identity growth, etc. Right? So what you need at the start of any journey is a strong why, because you could have the greatest coach in the world, the best meal plan, the best diet plan, right? The best mentors, doesn't matter. You're never going to follow through. Okay. Now the next step is, if you have that, amazing, right? You already, right? You might think, God, Kirk, get to the point with training tactics and all this stuff. Honestly, there's that much free information out on resources now. Why aren't half the world healthier? Okay. And I'll tell you why. So if they've got the why, would you agree to achieve a great body confidence, right? We need a plan. Most people know that if they train and they move well, they're going to create energy and physical stimulus to change their body. Food, that's energy in, right? Most people know if they eat better, they're going to get a better body and better health, etc. Water and sleep. I'm sure we all agree sleep's pretty important, right? Because if you sleep better, you eat better, you train better, you think better, right? That's a different topic. I'll come back to that next time. Water, fundamental health essential. So those 6 things: training, movement, food, and food can be broken down into 2, which I can talk about a little bit later. Food quality, food quantity, water and sleep. There's 6 core drivers, right? Irrelevant of the mindset stuff, how people look, how people feel about their body, and the energy they have is going to be down to the average intake or value of implementation on those 6 things. They're called the core drivers, right? This isn't like nothing magic. It's just those 6 things. The better you implement, the better. Now, for me, there's 3 problems of why people don't consistently implement them. Or maybe if they aren't as consistent as what they want to be, it's going to be one of these 3 things from my experience.
Go on.
Environment. They don't have an environment that is helping them implement those habits and behaviors consistently.
Yep.
Okay. State management, as I've spoke about at the start of this podcast, James, state drives decisions. Most people know what they need to do, but through stress, reactive behavior, whatever it is, they make poor decisions. They don't do the things they know they should do. And as I spoke about a second ago, belief. Most people don't believe they can achieve that great body, that great confidence. So they only get so far. So it's usually one of those 3 things that lets them down. Now, if they then go to that next stage where they've implemented the plan, the training, the food, right? They've got that first physical change. And there's a hell of a lot of people on this earth, James, that have got that initial physical change after the 12 weeks, the golden 12 weeks, right? This 12-week transformation. But there's also millions and millions of people on this earth who fall backwards. And I'll tell you why. They haven't conditioned it as part of their identity. It's not who they are, what they do, and how they see themselves. For anything to stick when it comes to living with confidence, and there's nothing perfect about this. I'm on a constant state of improvement as it is. No one's got it figured out, but you got to keep on it. Now, most people don't condition it, right? You have to expand identity. It has to be how you see yourself if you are going to consistently train, eat, move, sleep well. Do the things you don't want to because it's part of who you are. Not, I have to train, I have to eat healthy. I get to, it's who I am, it's what I do. It's part of lifestyle, okay? So one thing, and this is I'm sure you felt the benefits of this, even in Action Coach. If you find, right, you've transformed, you've got that first result, you then need to condition it over and over again so it's normal. And the last part of that process, James, what helps you condition this with more ease is have an environment that shares the same value of health. It's just the culture. It supports the new standards. Because the last step for long-term behavior change, especially when it comes to physical health, your energy, your confidence, is have an environment that is just conducive to that new way of life. And it's the same with business. I'm sure every single person in Action Coach, they naturally go the extra mile with the tasks they're supposed to be doing because they're part of this culture now. It's just excellence. You know, Will's #1 coaching company. It's what we do. So even if no one's watching, this doesn't matter. I'm not saying you're going to do it all the time, but you're more likely to do the things you know you should do more often than not. And especially when it comes to health and fitness, so many people, unfortunately, James, fail because they might have a coach, they might have a peer group that's really healthy. They've gone into health kick. But if you're then going to then spend time and surround yourself with the people and the cultures and the environments that create the problem in the first place, eventually you will conform to the standards of those people. So it's so important to have people in your life. Yes. And just lastly on that process, and hopefully I articulate that as best I possibly could, because again, it's a whole new subject. What the key thing is, right, and I don't want to make anyone wrong from this, a really, really simple way of reducing overwhelm with, okay, what do I need to focus on now? Right? Because like usually there's going to be one area or one specific category. Is it a will? Is it a skill? Is it an environment? Is it a skill? Maybe you don't lack motivation, you've got the why, but you simply don't know how to train 10% better, 20% better. You don't know what to eat. It's as simple as that, right? Or is it a will? It's just, you need to dig deeper into the motivation, the mindset, which is, for me, that's when you go back to what is the emotional value first and foremost before I kick off this journey, because then you're more likely to implement the things. If you know how to train, how to eat, and you're not doing it, I can almost guarantee you forgot the value of doing these things on your personal state, your confidence, your energy, maybe in the benefit of the relationship. Or lastly, is an environment. Are the people that you communicate with on WhatsApp regularly, the energy you absorb on social media, the people you spend time with, do they value health or not? Are they hindering or helping your health? And it's black and white. It's going to be a yes or no with these questions, but identify, is it a will? Is it a skill or is it environment? And guess what? You can change at any given moment. And once you've identified that thing, and then think who, not how, potentially.
Let's assume like someone's gone through this and they've gone through all of that change.
Mm-hmm.
They've got themselves into almost like a peak physical condition, peak mental condition, then decent environment. What's harder, in your opinion? Getting yourself to that point where you've achieved your goal,
yeah,
or staying there afterwards? What's the harder bit?
There is no question in my mind. It's staying there. Look, you've got to achieve the result in the first place. I get it, but a lot of people have. Yeah, I've never coached anyone where they say, "Oh God, I was in great shape once, or I made progress once."
Yeah.
Why didn't they stay there? And I think a lot of people are getting failed, James, because there's not enough awareness of what it actually takes. And there's all these marketing tactics of, drop 20 pounds in 4 weeks and we're going to change your life. It's telling lies. And remember this, all that does, James, it paints false expectations. It paints false expectations because I think generally most people's happiness, or for me, it's the formula for happiness. Remember, obviously I've done a lot of the Tony Robbins learnings and he paints this down so simply. The formula for happiness is in any area of your life, body, business, relationships, you're going to have a blueprint, you're going to have a target, a core expectation of how your life should be, your model of the world.
Yep.
And then you're going to have your living conditions on the other side, that your actions, your habits, your behavior, how you're actually showing up on a day-to-day basis. It's either going to be aligned to that or not. And for me, a lot of people right now, James, like they have the expectation of, I'm going to get in great shape. They might have someone telling them, you're going to do this in 12 weeks. But their living conditions aren't aligned. They're probably not mentally ready. And half the time, from my experience, James, almost people have proved over a 4, 8, 12-week period, especially if someone's trying to drop a little bit body fat, optimize energy, you've just proved that you can stick to a diet plan, maybe because you had to for a certain period. You had to get some training, had to get some movement in, right? But it's just short term. It does nothing to affect identity.
Let's stick with this, like keeping shape, yeah, staying there. Clearly you've stayed in shape a long time, all right? Mm-hmm. So how do you do it? Well, I mean, you just do a bit of self-reflection. So how do you constantly make sure that you're in tip-top condition?
Yeah, it comes down to your planning. You're either going to be scheduling the things you need to do with your training, your movement, your food, or you're not. I schedule my training as if it's a work appointment to me. So all of us, I could say yes to even more business sometimes, but if I said yes to more business, for example, within my weekly planning, James, I'm allowing to be continually controlled by other people's agendas, even if it's business. Most of us are in business to provide a service to other people, right? But that's someone else's agenda. I'm making them happy or fulfilling their needs. So I schedule my training every week, right? I know exactly when I'll be eating, and that's only on a daily basis. I mean, I've radically.
Okay, so look, what we're saying here is the importance of planning in advance. Of plan that in advance, and I can relate to that. Like we've opened up from COVID now. I'm doing exactly the same as everyone else listening in here. Staying in tip-top condition, hitting the gym 3 times a week, getting on my movement every day, keeping my sleep up. But now I'm going away and I'm presenting at different events, and all of a sudden lifestyle begins to creep in. Yeah. And it's different when you're at an event. So I do acknowledge that importance of planning. All right, I've got this coming up. What could I do on that day? I mean, that thinking ahead. Mm-hmm. Now let's get to 2 examples from you. Let's go the opposite. Someone that you've coached around getting into shape, they've hit target.
Yep.
You, by the way, Kirk doesn't know I'm going to ask you any of these questions. They've hit target. You don't have to say any names or anything. Yep. And then they've failed to maintain it. Mm-hmm. All right. So why did they fail to maintain it? What were the causes of that?
A lot of the time, that's a great question, James. A lot of the time, they're too rigid with maybe what created the progress in the previous week. They're not malleable with the structure of their routine. So a lot of people, if they can't do the perfect week, they don't do it at all. If they can't train at that perfect time, they don't do it at all. If they can't prep, for example, James, say if you're in hotels for the next 7 days, but right now, the previous 7 days, you've been able to prep your food from home. A lot of people, because they can't then do that perfect week the next week, I can't do it how I normally do it, so forget it, I won't do it, I'm off it, and I'll get back on it again when I'm at home. that doesn't work. So a really simplistic daily framework, if the weekly planning thing doesn't really work for you, is really simple mental framework. And I strongly advise to maybe do this as your last work task before you relax in the evening. Don't end a work day, or as a minimum before bed, without knowing the next day, when am I going to train, if it's a training day? When am I going to move? What am I going to eat? Who with? Do I see any curveballs that might affect foods that contradict my goals? When am I get my steps in? Who am I surrounding myself with? What conversations do I need to preempt if I think they're going to be in a bad influence on me at events with drink or food? So it's just simplifying that. And also one daily thing as well is on the following day. So what you could do, James, or anyone who's might have a curveball, do something first thing that is working your mindset or your muscles. Do something that serves you first, that puts you in an empowering state. For some, it might be a walk. Some people work out, but just do something that is going to be increase the chances of you making more proactive decisions. So you're not kicking yourself at the end of that day or that week going, oh God, I wish I did this. So it's just forward planning for curveballs, and also simplifying your scheduling with never going to bed without knowing these things.
Yeah, I mean, look, I got a couple of other things from that. I mean, I'm reading into what you're saying clearly. I mean, what stopped it, I think, is commitment and adaptability as well. Yeah. I think it's there. I mean, as you were going there, I've got one of my own beliefs that really helps get the best out of me is this: always exercise on a Monday. I mean, like, always exercise on a Monday.
Why?
That's a non-negotiable for me now, because psychologically now my week has started well. I must do that every time, and then the rest.
Another thing, James. Sorry, again, I just want to squeeze as much value in as possible. If that doesn't resonate with anyone, just always have a best case scenario and a minimum standard scenario. So on a weekly, daily basis, monthly basis, whatever your thing is, with your training, what is your best case scenario where you've got the perfect conditions, you can get the perfect session, you've got plenty of time, you've got a quiet week at work, right? What is your best case scenario? What does that look like? And then even if you add a week from hell, you've had a curveball, you're working more than ever, what is your non-negotiable minimum standard with your training? Same with your food. If you can control all your conditions, control your environment, what does that look like? And then what is your minimum non-negotiable standard? For example, is it if you can't prep all your food? And this is a really simple framework that a lot of I advise with a lot of our clients on their holidays and their airports, and some of our clients have got crazy schedules. Simplify even with your food. Am I eating protein? Am I minimize added sugar food? And I minimize processed food? So that could be a minimum standard, even if you can't track your calories or prep your food. And then with your movement, just go, right, what is the optimal steps on a great day or a weekday, weekend, depend how OCD you want to break this down. What is my minimum non-negotiable daily, average daily step target? Okay. And like sleep. So best case scenario with those core drivers I spoke about, best case scenario with your training, best case scenario with your food, best case scenario with your sleep, water, steps, and the same, have a minimum non-negotiable. And guess what? You won't always have the perfect week, the perfect month.
You know what? We have them in business. We have a range, KPIs. This is the minimum standard. This is the target standard.
Yeah.
So many let's do that for ourselves.
It's so many crossovers. And you think, yeah.
Rachel Woods here is eloquently putting it far better than both me and you right now. She says, big rocks. Get the big rocks.
Beautiful, Rachel.
Put the big rocks in first. Anu's saying, Monday's best day. Yes, that's wrong. Here to that one. Minimum standards. Really good. Right. Just give me a 30 second power reflection here. So let's go the opposite of this. Someone who has hit their target weight or health or goal, whatever you've been working with them on, and they've maintained it. Not you in terms of what you said. Why did they maintain it? What did they do?
They would have fallen in love with the boredom of the day-to-day habits that created that, and they'd be continually setting small milestones to continually progress. Yes, you'll have maintenance weeks and months, but like I'm that person basically, James, and I would set a smaller goal, but at least it's a target to aim for. You have to continually stretch vision.
I think I don't think it's falling in love with boredom. I think it's replacing boredom. You no longer see it as boring. It's not actually that boring. That's it. I mean, there's other coaches in high performance sport that, I've heard you got to learn to enjoy the pain. Yeah, actually, there'll come a bit where you've got yourself to a level and you've been consistently pushing yourself that much. You're enjoying it now. You're in, like you say, enjoying the boredom.
But I think it comes down to as well, though, James, like I said at the start, that process diagram, like I just recited my why, my mission, my purpose, reminding yourself of why does it matter? Who needs me on my A game? Asking yourself these questions is going to keep those standards high. Because when you ask yourself your better questions, it redirects you to what you need to focus on, to the outcomes you're striving for. So again, it comes down to the why. Who needs me on my A game? Why is it important?
Look, I'm going to put the next slide up next. I've been looking forward to this one because, Kirk sent these over. I had a look at these and I thought, hang on a second. So let's just get this on screen. How do I get in great shape without compromise? I mean, look, I've got a question. I don't want to go there first because I'm going to go somewhere else, which is is that even possible? But seriously, 4 weddings a year, 6 barbecues a year, 28 days holidays, 7 days for Easter, 7 days at Christmas, 6 barbecues, Jackie.
The way I broke down the 6 barbecues, right, is the summer over a period of 3 months. Would you agree?
Well, look, I mean, you might be in your sort of glory days still. That's why all your friends are your age. You're all getting married. I mean, 4 weddings a year, that's a lot, man. 6 barbecues.
Okay. So, even if we halved some of those numbers, it's not a million miles away from half a year. The reason most people are failing to stay in shape, it isn't because of how consistent they are, or maybe not with their day-to-day diet plan. It's they don't know how to handle these occasions in the real world, especially as a business owner. Most business owners,
I massively relate to this right now, personally.
Most business owners, me included, we work hard to enjoy nice things, nice occasions with friends, colleagues, family, children. Most of the time it involves food, right? And this is logic, right? There are 52 weekends, and I know there's some probably absolute sharks listening to this, thinking, what's he talking about? 52 weekends is 104 days. Even anyone I've ever coached, I'm yet to coach anyone who likes to eat out of a Tupperware on the weekend after they've had a long week at work and they've got a family to think about, they've got some friends. Then if you go, this is for most business owners who travel, 14 days, that's minimum across a year. If you're thinking, I'm factoring holidays and all that stuff, then if you think about holiday, most people go on a couple 2-week holidays, or at least a couple of weeks across a year. Birthdays, if you've got kids, you got your birthday, you got your partner's birthday, you're talking 4 or 5 minimum. Barbecues, 6. I know James has just had a joke about this. 3 months of the summer, most clients I work with have a barbecue one in every 2 weeks, right? So there's nothing wrong with these things. But if you don't know how to box a little bit clever at your barbecues, at weddings, at christenings, at Easter, then most people, James, who are struggling, they have an all or nothing mentality. I can't do it perfect. I can't control exactly what the portions. What do I do?
This comes down to your planning. I mean, it's not just planning this. This is awareness. Let's just be logical. Let's understand life, because what you're seeing on that page is life.
Yes.
And I get it. Life can get in the way. You have 52 weekends ahead. It's slightly easier, isn't it, not to eat as well on a weekend when you're not doing in your routines of work.
There's nothing wrong with that. So what I'm trying to say is, rather than try and fight logic, as James has perfectly put, because it is logic, how can you find a system or manipulate your food especially to allow for more calories and food on these occasions? Because myself included, I eat out multiple times a week. I don't want to compromise on that, but I also don't want to compromise on my health and the energy and the confidence, which is vital to me, my family, my clients who look up to me, etc. So I need to go, how can I find a system adapted to my life at this stage, 40 this year, getting old now, that is complementary to that? Because if I want that outcome of a great body, great energy, but my lifestyle is different to when I was mid-20s at Coventry, didn't have as much money, I wanted to weigh food 6 times a day, right? Then I want the same outcome as what I did 15 years ago, but I need a different system. So we need to learn how to cleverly manipulate calories. So for example, James, whether someone tracks with their MyFitnessPal or not, or however they'd like to manage their food, think about your food as in, what is my weekly budget? And I'll relate it to business. Where do I like to invest more? Basically eat more. And where am I not too bothered if I eat a little bit less, right? And just manipulate. It's like a game of maths. So say, for example, if someone's average calories to stay lean, sharp, strong, optimize performance without affecting fatigue, say their average, their total weekly calories was 14,000. I'm just underestimating it, but just to keep it clean, that's an average of 2,000 a day.
Yeah.
So if you know that you want to spend more, for example, me and James are going out for a meal this weekend. Okay, we'll have a good chat and we want to eat some more food. How can I manipulate my calories? So maybe I'll spend 2,500 when I'm with James. So I've got a bit more buffer for calories. Something's got to give on the other days, but I don't want to go too low that I'm going to starve. And then the one thing you need to keep consistent is protein irrelevant, because if you keep the average daily protein target strong, even if you're on lower calories, it's going to curb hunger and prevent overeating and binge eating and stuff. So there's loads of different ways you could do it. But James, you hit the nail on the head.
Just repeat that for everyone, actually. The importance of consistency of protein, the amount of protein. Just repeat your point.
I don't want to overwhelm people, but a really, really simple thing with food, irrelevant to how you manipulate your calories, whether you eat more on a Friday, a Saturday, Sunday, keep your consistency with your protein. An average, if you're weight training especially, and you're looking to optimize muscle growth, which goes far beyond helping people look good, don't forget, with bone density, all this stuff, 1 gram of protein per 1 pound of body weight isn't a million miles away.
But let's talk in layperson's terms, because I know grams is, metrics. But look, people are talking about a piece of chicken or
So what I would say is, say you're eating 3 times a day.
Yeah.
Every time you eat, can I eat 2 poundfuls of protein? Can I eat 2 poundfuls of protein, or a large 1 poundful of protein? Because if you undereat protein, I've been doing this that long, you will snack more, overeat more of the foods that deep down are contradicting your goals.
So how's this? Subway salad.
Yes.
With double portion of chicken tikka. How's that?
Wholemeal bread. Again, we can go really.
No. Subway salad. No bread. The salad box I'm talking about here.
Yeah.
I mean,
perfect.
Yeah, with double portion of chicken tikka.
Yeah, if that was the best option within your environment of that given day,
right, okay.
So most people are scared to ask for more protein, and a lot of people go sometimes, oh, that's a lot of protein. Trust me, if you are under eating protein, you're only going to eat more snacks and hyperpalatable foods and added sugar and snacks. Most people are struggling with their weight. It's added sugar, processed food. You don't need to eliminate these, but just go, how can I eat a little bit less than I currently do? And a really simple framework with all of those things, James. We've just broken down half a year worth of holidays, weekends, barbecues. A really simple way, if you're thinking, God, let's just simplify this even more, is from all of these occasions, ask yourself, how can I be or eat 5 to 10% better than I previously would have done? Imagine if you totted all those days up, the weddings, the weekends for the last 12 months, and then you went, right, what have I previously done and how can I eat 5 to 10% better? Imagine the compound interest effect across the calendar year on your body weight and energy.
Look, you're preaching to the converted with everyone listening here, because you know what? Everyone thinks about, how can I improve my lead generation 5% better, my business 5% better, my this 10% better. Just got to do it with your food as well, and do it with your exercise.
Yeah, it's just a really simple question again, because I know we could that could be another topic, and I'm happy to come back and talk about that. But even if someone goes, okay, Kurt, I can't be bothered to track my calories, I can't be bothered to weigh my food, which I don't, by the way, I outsource 90% of my food. Really simple, even a weekly or daily framework. How can I be better than the week before? How can I be better than the day before? Simple, simple, simple. And even granular than that. If I'm at too low my protein, how can I eat a little bit more tomorrow? Added sugar, how can I, what is the one food in my weekly/daily diet, but more so weekly, that is consuming too many calories per minimal food volume? So say if someone's eating added sugar twice a day for 7 days a week, how about next week we can instead of 14 pieces of added sugar or chocolate bars, maybe let's eat 10 or even half it and see where we're at. You're still getting that fulfillment, but that makes a difference across the time. Same with processed food. So there's loads of little, just think simple, and you can't go wrong.
All right, look, we've got a comment here from Mr. Jackson. Is Friday night part of the weekend? It certainly is, my friend. Balance your week out. I mean, look, the point here that you've got on lifestyle is be aware of your lifestyle, isn't it? You know, I have a Friday night curry night, and I have a lot of calories on Friday night. But guess what? They're saved from elsewhere.
Yeah. And that's where, James, just on that, I know we spoke a little bit about food. We haven't really touched on training. This is why I'm so big on trying to optimize output, because most people who are struggling with their body weight, right? The word diet should go. It's negative. Like, if a diet's got a name on it, you know, it's as good as broken. But if the food is that constant challenge, even for me and my clients, what's going to allow you to be able to handle more food and stay physically healthy, mentally healthy, is optimizing your output. So how can I maximize my step output? How can I optimize my training intent and volume within the time I can train? Because the more energy you can create out, the more your body needs more energy in via food to maintain a strong, healthy body, etc. And that's, for me, is a much more sustainable way than going, I'm trying to be healthy here. Let's drastically cut my calories. Just let's get walking a little bit more. Again, simple framework again. What was my weekly step target last week? Is that going to take me forward towards the body weight and the energy I want this week? If not, how can I squeeze in maybe 1,000 more steps a day? Same with training. How can I remove distractions within my training sessions? Be a little bit more prepared.
How many calories does 1,000 steps burn?
I know no idea off the top of the head, because it depends as well on the body comp, the body weight. Be very, very guarded sometimes with, you know, some of these cardio machines that say you burn X in that time. I just think to really, this is my personal opinion on this, James. I think a lot of people, there's so many gadgets out there now, right? If any gadgets or anything is creating stress, it's probably not the right answer for you. So a lot of people go, well, this watch has told me I've burnt 700 calories or 1,000 calories, and I've only consumed 1,000 calories. Why am I not dropping weight? There's nothing that can be that granular. I think ultimately your biggest feedback, your biggest KPI of whether or not you're taking more energy in than you're burning out is your average daily body weight across 7 days, week to week. If your weight's going up, irrelevant what you're doing with your food, you're probably eating too much in relation to your output. Yeah. If your weight's going down, then maybe too fast, then maybe we need to creep some calories up, which is why whichever way you want to go, whether you want to add some muscle without putting on body fat, you want a subtle increase in calories or subtle increase in energy in. Okay. And then same, if you're trying to drop weight, don't do anything drastic because you'll end up binging.
We've got about 4 minutes left. And okay. I do want to talk to you about making good choices, opportunity cost. Let's have a look at this one then. Where will you be by the end of 2023? Because, I mean, talk us through these, where you might end up in one of 3 places, yeah?
Yeah, this is, again, it's just painting logic. I think sometimes when we are getting clear on what we want, and obviously this is relevant to physical health, mental health just now, but there's not enough clarity of, like, first of all, what is the outcome, but actual logic. If we want a different outcome that is giving us, for example, in this diagram of, we want to be in at the end of 2023, say we said in 10 minutes time, right? We want more mental focus, energy, productivity, confidence, physical health, relationships, and happiness, right? Are your current living conditions likely to make that happen? Do you have a plan? Do you have a clear sense of direction? Do you have that deeper meaning? Do you know what to do to get there? And more importantly, are you willing to do it? And I would say, if you're not bothered, that's not fine, but lower your expectations, because if nothing changes, you're going to be in the same place. Or worstly, and I'm sure as a high performer listening to this, if you're associated with Action Coach, I consider you a high performer, right? You wouldn't be here, all right? But if the standard slip, the bottom line is going to be the option, right? Lower energy, poor health, reactive decisions. And you've got to ask yourself, of those 3 options, do I want to be in a better place? Do I want to be in the same place? Or am I going to let my standard slip and be in a worse place? And the reason I don't believe anyone in the heart wants to be on that lower line is because I'm sure you'll agree, if you have low energy, poor focus, poor health, reactive decisions, you're not going to be where you want to be with your business. You'll be kicking yourself thinking, God, I wish I had more energy to follow through. So just get really, really clear. Look yourself in the mirror and go, where do I want to be? What needs to change? And what am I willing to do to get there? Because they're your three options just now. You have to have, when you're choosing a goal, James, anyone else listening to this, you need emotion, you need meaning behind it, but you need logic. Do I have a system and a roadmap to get there? And if the answer is no, what are you willing to do about it? Think who, not how, who needs to be on my A game, the why, all these type of things we've been through today.
Yeah, look, start putting your learning points in the chat box, by the way, and any action points. You did say something there that I want to come to, which is energy. You know, what would you say to someone? And this is a big objection that I hear very regularly. Yeah, I'll do it when I've got the energy.
You have to create it. You can't have energy out without putting energy in. It's like, you know, you drive a car, like I want to drive my car fast. If I've not got the petrol in there, you have to create the energy, right?
Yeah.
You know, people find the energy for things they value, but you have to create the energy. And there's different types.
Energy. How do you create the energy?
Yeah, but again, oh God, this could be a separate subject. You got visual energy, mental energy, physical energy. Okay, but great way to create more energy is where in your life, or maybe even better, think of a time in your life where you felt really, 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 really energized, or maybe even the year to date. 10 weeks so far, which weeks did you have more energy, and what were you doing more of? What were you doing less of? How did you start your day? How did you end your day? How did you plan that week as opposed to not planning your week? Because if someone's had a really productive week, I've never met anyone who's gone, I had a really I had low energy that week. I haven't had a productive week. It doesn't happen, you know. So ask yourself that, you know, on the weeks or the times in my life I've had great energy, what to do more of, what to do less of, but you can't have energy out of that energy in. It's the same with confidence, James. You can't give what you don't have. You have to create it. And if you think about a great thing is this, this is awesome as well, is this is something I learned from obviously one of the mentorship programs I did with Brendan Bouchard. And he said, think of your 3 success words that's made you really, like, what's made you successful? Who are you at your best? And that's another thing you can do to remind yourself on a daily basis of anyone listening to this. What are the 3 words that made you really, really, really successful of who you are at your best? And when you say you are lacking energy, I'm a bit tired, think of those 3 words. And if you could be congruent with those words and you align them with your values, you'll create that energy and you'll do what you need to do.
We've got plenty of points that's coming in here. And look at this. We've even got some goal setters. John Hurley. Where will I be at the end of 23? 83 kilograms with, I hope. Plenty of exclamation marks in there as well. We've got Magic Mike. He's got his name that he's got to live up to there. Magic Mike, hashtag 6-pack. Yeah, there's a few sort of muscles and the beach for Dubai. So you're living in Dubai at the moment, aren't you?
I am, yeah. I'm on a flight tomorrow to Costa del Coventry, Birmingham, and then visiting my family in Coventry.
Costa del Coventry, we'll go with that. Costa del Coventry, there you go. How do you like that one, Anu? Lucas Vigilante, it has to be how you see yourself if you want performance to stick. It's such a good point, isn't it?
100%. When you look yourself in the mirror, is that, and using the words I am, and I'm sure you've peppered this, no doubt, in the program, the words I am, when no one else is around, how you describe yourself after the words I am, that's the harsh reality of where you're at just now. And there's no judgment, because as I keep coming back to, guys, and hopefully I've been transparent putting this across today, I've been the guy that's been 6-pack, Men's Health, everyone sponsorships, all these different things, but the confidence wasn't there. If I'd have said I am confident, I'd have been telling myself lies. And just my mission and challenge to anyone today is, none of you are broken, as we said at the start, but if you know you're capable of becoming more, and you know in your heart you want to pursue being more, just explore it and just ask yourself better questions about what I need to do, and, you know, who do I need to surround myself with more.
I love the reality check on the staying there. I mean, it's a different mindset to get in there.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
But the big one with that is environment. It's like building a great business. I'm sure you've set milestones for all the guys in Action Coach, James. You've done some great things with some of my friends, and they're absolutely over the moon. But you got to condition it. 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 I'm sure we've all had the great win in business, haven't we? We've had a great month, a great 3 months. But do we want a business that's got legs for 3, 4, 5, 10 years, whatever the target and the vision is? Same with body. Who cares if we're in shape for 3 months and healthy? The problem with that is, James, when people have experienced heightened confidence, heightened emotions, heightened energy, which comes with greater physical health, you've tasted technically that great state, that feeling. And then when you have that dip, when you've experienced a heightened emotion. So yes, look, no one stays right at the top. You have little dips. You need that emotional feedback to experience the positive. But just like we're trying to get everyone inside Action Coach is trying to create more predictable progress with their business, hence why they've got your mentorship. Let's create predictable happiness with our health, our confidence and energy. And guess what? Watch how much more you achieve in business. Watch how much more you achieve in business when you are truly happy within yourself. You've got the energy, you've got the confidence. God, if you're making great sales now, you'll make more. If you're productive now, you'll be even more productive. And guess what? When you optimize energy, which James beautifully brought up, at the end of a long work day, when you've done your 40, 50, 60, 70 hours, whatever it is, you've got more energy to give back to the people you're doing it for, which is often your partner, your children, and you enjoy the fruits of your labor more. So don't get complacent with that. It's another personal thing. Like, that's another thing I probably should have said, James. It's one of my personal ethoses, even within my team. We never get complacent, because I've been complacent many times and it doesn't work out too well. I think given the choice, no one wants to be inconsistent or complacent. So let's do the behavior that
consistently live that lifestyle. That was on one of your diagrams earlier on. Look, on behalf of everybody here at Action Coach on the Big Friday Finish, thank you very much, Kirk Miller. Let's enjoy putting this into action and getting in the best shape of our life. And really importantly, staying there. It's going to take that. It's going to take this. And it's definitely going to take a heart and why. Thank you very much, Kirk. See you again next time. Bye for now.